الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان. रहमान ने अपने महबूब को कुरान सिखाया, इंसानियत की जान मोहम्मद को पैदा किया, माँ कान व माँ यकून का बयान उन्हें सिखाया। सूरज और चाँद हिसाब से हैं और सब्ज़े और पेड़ सजदा करते हैं, और आसमान को अल्लाह ने बुलंद किया और तराजू रखी कि तराजू में बेइतदाली न करो। सदक़ल्लाहु मौलाना अज़ीम व सदक़ रसूलुल नबी करीम।
Ladies and gentlemen, may I now request the Consul General of Pakistan to kindly read out the messages sent by the President and the Prime Minister of Pakistan. The Consul General, please.
Asif Ali Zardari on Pakistan Day, 23rd March 2012. 72 years ago, on this day, the Muslims of the subcontinent formally committed to a separate homeland from themselves. The blessings of Allah and to the heroic struggle of Quaid-e-Azam Mohammad Ali Jinnah and the founding fathers, the Muslims of the subcontinent achieved their objective on August 14, 1947, within a short span of 7 years of the expression of their resolve. Our founding fathers had resolved to carve out an independent state where there will be democracy and where constitutionalism and rule of law would reign supreme. Unfortunately, successive dictators tried to stifle the democratic aspirations of the people. Constitutionalism and rule of law was trampled by dictators, sometime under the doctrine of necessity and sometime under the theory of successful revolution. The unanimous Constitution of 1973 was disfigured by successive dictators to suit their own political ambitions. But the democratic aspirations could never be killed. On the eve of Pakistan Day this year, it is reassuring to realize that the Parliament has successfully removed the vestiges of dictatorship and restored the democratic constitution of Pakistan. On this day, let us resolve that we will not permit any dictator to usurp the basic fundamental rights of the people, nor allow them to trample on our democratic aspirations. This requires that we work in the spirit of tolerance, mutual accommodation, and respect for dissent. Let us also resolve that we will uphold the Constitution and never allow it to be abrogated, subverted, or held in abeyance. It is also important to uphold the independence of the judiciary in accordance with the Constitution. Unless there is a rule of law and everyone is equal before law, and unless we all work within the constitutionally defined parameters, stability will elude us. I hope that the Parliament, the people, and all institutions of the state will work in harmony toward this end. I pray to Almighty Allah to bless our efforts to prove ourselves worthy of the heritage bequeathed to us by Quaid-e-Azam. The message ends here. Now I will read the message of the Prime Minister, Syed Asif Hussain, Prime Minister of Pakistan, on Pakistan Day, March 23rd. March 23rd is a landmark day in the history of Pakistan when the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent adopted the historic Lahore Resolution put forth by AKA Faqir on March 23rd, 1940 at the famous Minto Park in the 27th annual meeting of All India Muslim League. This resolution gave an ideal to the Muslims and united them for the attainment of a shared objective. It was such an epoch-making event which changed the course of history of the Indian Muslims. The resolution demanded the establishment of a separate state based on the higher ideals of Islamic social justice and human compassion. In his concluding remarks, Quaid-e-Azam Mohammad Ali Jinnah described the event as a milestone in the history of Hindustan. He said that the more the Muslims organized themselves, the more they would get closer to their destination. Though Allama Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, poet philosopher, gave an idea for the establishment of a separate homeland in his famous Allahabad address in 1930, there was still a need for a visionary leader to translate this concept into reality. The Quaid-e-Azam, endowed with the qualities of statesmanship, rose to the occasion to steer the ship of the Muslims from the tempest it was stuck in. Renowned American historian Stanley Walbert has played a glowing and befitting tribute to his leadership in the following words. Few individuals significantly alter the course of history. Fewer still modify the map of the world. Hardly anyone can be credited with creating a nation state. Muhammad Ali Jinnah did all three. Unquote. Quaid-e-Azam said to his secretary Matlub Hassan after the approval of the Lahore resolution, and I quote, Quaid is not present among us today. Had he been alive, he would have been happy to know that we fulfilled his desire. Unquote. The British imperialists and the Hindu leadership were both opposed to the establishment of a separate state and wanted to keep the subcontinent united at all costs. The Quaid-e-Azam remained steadfast in his demand that no solution of the Indian political and constitutional problem except the creation of a new state would be acceptable to the Muslims. He believed that in a united India, the Muslims would be relegated to the status of a second-class citizens. So he waged a determined struggle to carve out a state where the Muslims would live their individual and collective life in accordance with their traditions. While delivering a speech in Peshawar on November 24, 1945, the Quaid-e-Azam said, and I quote, "Our religion, our culture, and Islamic ideals are our driving force to achieve independence. Pakistan not only means freedom and independence, but Muslim ideology which has to be preserved." Unquote. He was of the considered view that the European model of democracy was not applicable to United India, as it would provide the majority with an opportunity to establish its government and the minority would become subjugated. The Lahore resolution, which was later on very rightly described as Pakistan resolution, changed the destiny of the Indian Muslims. It gave an impetus to their struggle and fired their passion to realize the dream of a separate state. This explains why Pakistan came into being as the largest Islamic state on the map of the world within a short span of 7 years in 1947. Today, Pakistan, as a flourishing democracy, enjoys an honorable place in the Committee of Nations. The present democratic government is committed to preserving our great cultural heritage, distinct political and civilizational identity, in the light of the vision of Quaid-e-Azam Mohammad Ali Jinnah, Shaheed Zulfikar Bhutto, and Shaheed Muhtarama Bhutto. We are making our earnest efforts to bring about economic and social revolution in keeping with the spirit of the Pakistan Revolution. The government revived the Constitution of 1973 in its original form by deleting the dictatorial insertions from it. We undertook broad-based reforms in political, legislative, and administrative domains, which include the 18th, 19th, and 20th constitutional amendments empowerment of women, the 7th NFC Award, self-governance to Gilgit Pakistan, deletion of concurrent list, devolution of power to federating units, and revival of Council of Common Interest, etc. In an effort to address the long-standing grievances of the Baloch people and remove their sense of deprivation, the democratic government introduced Balochistan initiative to mainstream the role of the Baloch in the national development. The government has just completed its 4th year in office, and the success of a coalition government owes itself to the policy of reconciliation and consensus espoused by Shaheed Muhtarma Benazir. Though we did encounter a few problems on the way, but we did not allow these hurdles to hamper our march towards progress and development, for which the entire nation deserves to be congratulated. March 23rd is not only a day of celebration, but also an opportunity to reiterate our pledge to keep working hard for the attainment of the objectives contained in Pakistan's resolution. On this auspicious occasion, we pledge to uphold the supremacy of democracy and rule of law at every cost. We need to strengthen the principles of mutual tolerance, brotherhood, and reconciliation to foster unity in our ranks. We have to strengthen our national security and independence in accordance with our national aspirations. The day demands of us to revive the spirit of Pakistan movement in its entirety. I pray to Allah Almighty to enable us to protect Pakistan and put it on the days of progress and prosperity. Amen. And thank you very much.
मोअज़्ज़िज़ ख़वातीन व हज़रात, तबीयत नासाज होने की वजह से हमारे मुस्तक़िल बंधु एम्बेसडर अब्दुल्ला हारून आज इस तकलीफ पर नहीं आ सके। उन्होंने अपने नेक ख्वाहिशात का इज़हार किया है। तो मैं गुजारिश करूँगा पाकिस्तान के नायब बंधु एम्बेसडर रज़ा बशीर तारड़ से कि वो अपने ख्यालात का इज़हार करें।
I see that we have another guest that is not seen before. So we welcome you. Now, I must say this responsibility has come my way rather unexpectedly. As you can see, I don't have any written speech. Nevertheless, the patriotism and the depth of feeling that we have on this day is beyond written words and scripts. So I would want to share some thoughts. The ethos and the philosophy underpinning the occasion has been very eloquently expressed in the messages of the head of state and the government, and I cannot possibly add anything qualitatively to that. But I would want to just emphasize something from the perspective of people who live abroad in the line of duty, or the ones who are even settled permanently. Much is being written and spoken in the media of information, and that affects us all. And sometimes we get carried away with that. So what I would urge everybody is that whenever one feels kind of despondent or maybe a little disturbed at the happenings back home, I think your own feeling is the best indicator. How do you feel about your country, and what is the depth of your own commitment? I mean, that is where it starts from. And I have yet to come across a Pakistani who does not have that. The grievances and the misgivings we have are sometimes due to economic reasons, sometimes due to political reasons, sometimes due to the fact that maybe we are not necessarily all on the same page in terms of objectives, but the basic foundation, the fundamental feeling is the same. And that is a feeling that transcends provincialism, which lately has become a buzzword. It is a feeling that transcends linguistics. It is a feeling that transcends the color of your skin, where you come from, where you trace your origin from. And it is very eloquently and very effectively expressed in the Pakistan resolution that we are all aware of. And in this context, now that we work in the United Nations and sometimes we have to negotiate documents, and going by the direct experience of how tedious it can be to even negotiate one single paragraph, it makes you realize the enormity of the achievement of the founding fathers and how difficult the task must have been. And after that, since its creation, Pakistan has defied all pundits and gurus and expectations. A lot was said when Pakistan was created that this is a state that will not survive. They will come back begging for reunification. It will be eaten up by a bigger neighbor. It will not be able to keep up strategically. It will not be able to progress economically. We have defied all those estimates. And the best thing I think is that our thinking is on the right path, and our heart is in the right place. And every Pakistani is aware of the need to enhance effort and to work for the betterment of the country. And nobody has given up. I think that is very important. So basically, I would only urge myself and all of you that we should remain seized of this reality. And we must always distinguish between the state and the government, the state and the province, the state and our ethnic group or our sectarian persuasion. Because at the end of the day, Pakistan is a philosophy, it is an idea that transcends all of these considerations. And that will persist, regardless of how we view ourselves. So first and foremost, we are Pakistanis, and whatever differences we have are not insurmountable. Thank you all very much.
मौजूद ख़वातीन और हज़रात, आपकी आमद का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। चाय पर पुरशबाब नारे पाकिस्तान के लिए लगाएं, हम आवाज़ होकर पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद, पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद, पाकिस्तान